Well, happy Halloween, everybody. This is John Felt, and this is the NCGA FMC Ag Weather Outlook. Hope everybody's having a great week. Hey, I want to start off by asking a quick favor here as we end the month of October. If you're a regular viewer of the Ag Weather Outlook or read my content, you find it useful, do me a favor. Could you tell a few other people about it? I'm trying to promote this a bit more across the Midwest and ag growing areas. So if that's one favor I do ask you. If you do enjoy it, if it's found it useful, just tell some others about it and urge them to subscribe. They can subscribe at ncga.com/weather. Okay, let's start off by looking at the rainfall over the last 7 days. I mentioned last week that there'd be a streak of some heavier rain over parts of the eastern Corn Belt, and you can see southern Illinois, very small part, southern Indiana and Ohio in particular, that those areas in yellow, western Kentucky as well, over 2 inches. That area has been very, very dry, so that's all soaked in. I looked at some runoff thresholds, and that gives me some indication of how much moisture, how much rain could soak in, and it's well over 2 inches. So that's all soaked in. Some more moderate precipitation out further west, Iowa, Wisconsin, surrounding states, but generally fairly light, up to an inch, a couple pockets heavier amounts. And then as we get into the upper Midwest, the Dakotas, Nebraska, very little rain at all. So when we look at percent of normal, you can see in those bands of rain, it was above normal right through here. A couple pockets of above normal precipitation in this area, but everywhere else in the middle between these below normal and upper Midwest, generally speaking, below normal. The real active story has been over the south central U.S., Texas, Louisiana, across that area with moisture, very tropical moisture pushing in. And tropical moisture really can produce that heavy rain. Matter of fact, here is some recent rainfall. Really 2 systems. The first one was the remnants of Patricia that streaked up towards the northeast. And then a second one you might have heard just recently about some severe flash flooding near the Austin area. So it's been very, very wet over the south central U.S. Now temperatures last week were either a little bit above or a little bit below normal. Overall, let's just call it close to normal. No extremes one way or the other. Okay, now let's take a look at the jet stream as we round out the harvest season. Much of it has been completed, but there is still some continuing. And this week we see a pattern, a little bit of a dip in the jet stream in the west. That's the area in blue. Bulging to the north of the jet stream in the east, more significant. And what do you think that means? Well, you probably know that means above normal temperature. So it looks like definitely a above normal week of temperatures, especially right over the central part of the Midwest. Looking at temperatures 10 degrees above normal, maybe even a little bit more. So temperatures warming back into the 70s over a pretty large area of the Midwest this week. It should be a nice week with those readings. Now, if we go a little bit further out, 6 through 10, you still see some signs of that ridge or that pushing further north at the jet stream over the eastern U.S. And temperatures again as we go into week 2, 6 to 10 days out. Generally speaking, the central and eastern Corn Belt above normal temperatures. Not as much. We're probably going to have a front pass through late this week that'll cool temperatures down, but still no signs of extreme cold. Then as we get to the 10th through the 15th, very little change in this pattern, near normal temperatures. Now I am seeing towards the middle of November a pretty quick shot of some very cold air pushing down. That's way out there. I'll keep an eye on it. But right now, as far as the possibilities of prolonged, unusually cold air, I don't see it. And matter of fact, this week I do see a number of days of well above normal. So precipitation forecast for the next 7 days. Here we go. Pretty similar to last week. There are going to be some areas where there could be a more modest rainfall, soaking rainfall right in this axis right here, but everywhere else looks very quiet. The action looks like it's going to be over the southeast U.S. this week, parts of Oklahoma, that southern tier, but the upper Midwest, the Midwest, eastern Corn Belt, overall fairly quiet. So we look at the anomalies for precipitation, overall fairly close to normal. I think there could be some rain. I wouldn't be surprised if we have more areas that experience below normal rain over the next 7 days than experience above normal. Now, when we get out a little bit further, I want to say I'm seeing some differences here with the eastern Corn Belt, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky generally being leaning towards wetter conditions, while the West generally leaning towards drier conditions. And you can see that in week 2, week 3, and even week 4. So we'll see how that works out. But I do see some signs that, generally speaking, the south central U.S., with moisture streaking up in this area here, and the southeast U.S. generally being trending towards above normal precipitation, and then the upper Midwest in this region right here trending more towards below normal precipitation. So that's the overall pattern. I don't see necessarily heavy rain, but I do see that's the tendency we're going to. So this week, enjoy it. It looks like milder temperatures pushing in over most of the Midwest, temperatures rebounding, and overall below normal precipitation in most areas, but there will be that narrow axis that there will be some modest precipitation in a few spots. Have a great week if you're still out there in the field, which I'm sure most are, finishing up fall activities. Take care. Enjoy the milder weather. I'll be talking with you again next weekend.